When you get the P1339 fault code in your Peugeot vehicle, you may get a ton of misinformation from the forums and the AI chatbots because they very often mistake it for the codes in Mini and BMW cars. And even if there are some engines that were shared between these manufacturers, the brains in French vehicles are exclusive because there is no other car brand in the world that loves making things so complicated for drivers and independent mechanics as strongly as Peugeot does. Anyway, for Peugeot vehicles, the P1339 code means misfiring in cylinder 3, and you will most likely get this code either in the EP6 engine or in the 1.2 PureTech engine. If it's the 1.2 PureTech, the most likely problem is the changed timing, because the wet timing belt is about to give up and your engine will be destroyed. So it's a very good idea to take it in as soon as possible. The problem with these belts is that they hate short journeys when a small amount of fuel gets into the oil pan and starts aggressively affecting the belt. Over time, it degrades, stretches, and changes the timing. Also, its particles will clog the oil filter and the oil intake pipe, leading to oil starvation. So please don't ignore this, since you will replace the engine at the end of this horror story. If this is the EP6 engine, which is a popular 1.6 petrol unit, the problem is most likely with the coil or spark plug in the third cylinder. You may swap the coils between the third and any other cylinder and see if the code changes, then swap the spark plugs and check if you get another code. But if the P1339 stays there, you may want to know about the valve seat problems in the EP6 engines. To cut a long story short, you will need to measure the compression in the third cylinder, and if it's lower than in other cylinders, you will need to the engine head to be repaired. If the engine has over 150,000 miles or 250,000 kilometers on it, it's actually not worth repairing, since the price for such repair is quite unpleasant. So a replacement engine is not the worst idea in this case. In any other Peugeot engine, you will need to identify the reason why the third cylinder misfires. I don't know why Peugeot sets the P1339 code while there is a globally accepted P0303 code for cylinder 3 misfiring, but I know dozens of people who had to pay extra for diagnostics just because of this, and such decisions of French car manufacturers are somewhat hard to explain.